shop, and I wanted to give you a quick rundown. Now, I covered this in a previous video, and it's pretty sweet, but for a beginner plane, even for a small indoor advanced plane, it's going to need to be able to bear some weight. And this is a very thin wing, but it's designed to be that way. As I said, this is going to be a biplane. So behold, the top wing. And this one has tips that angle slightly upward. Okay. Is slightly angled upward itself, and it will sit right here. And they are very complementary in shape. In fact, when you look at them in profile, it pretty much looks like it was made to be that way. And it pretty much is. And if I move it back, it still looks good. But if I move it forward to just about here where I actually designed it to be, it looks perfect. And that's part of the design. When the patterns line up and those two arches at the back are looking like they're one, anywhere in there is actually a good place to put it. And it helps you to align the wing as well and get it correct, because when the arches are lined up, you have it perfect. That is part of the design. And of course, for that to happen, they have to be cut perfect in the first place. So the more precise I make it, the better. But in the end, I did pretty good. And eventually, these will be laser cut or 3D printed. And so that will be awesome. But in the end, this is going to be a sick biplane design. It will fly very well and lock in very, very well, guys. But again, it all goes to the roll rate I want to have, the amount of lift I want to have. All that stuff is carefully considered and then laid out in a package that is hopefully very attractive and also will fly very well. That's the real trick. I didn't just want ones that fly well. I wanted ones that looked good doing it, and the kind of thing that you would be happy to have in your home and go cruise. And something even cooler looking than what you can buy out there today. And this wing will actually be about that far forward, guys, in my case. And the more aggressive you want it, the farther out the front wing should be, the more nose heavy it'll be and all that stuff. So I'm going to experiment a little bit and see where I want my wing. But in the end, it'll be about like that. So I've got my supports out here, and I'm just going to show you how I'm going to hook this one up, because really the rest of the build's fairly straightforward. Same as always. You build your template. Here, I'm just going to pull one of my planes off, put that down here, and slide the camera out a little farther and give you a little bit better angle. And then I'm going to take my glue gun, which is hot and ready, and I'm going to take my inner supports first. They are the larger supports because that top wing has an indented section, and I'm going to lay them out in a forward pattern so that they're close to the edge of this wing and reaching out forward. You want them cut to just the right angles, and you're going to see I'm going to fine tune these in a minute. But for now, I'm just going to focus on getting these two pieces in place, and then we're going to go from there. Okay. It's worth it if your glue is getting a lot of little pieces. It's good to separate that out too and take all those off. So now the real trick is getting it symmetrical here. And you want to be careful to the direction they lean. They have to lean forward. And so we're going to take a quick measurement on these and see if they're close. We're looking at 2 centimeters and 2 centimeters, guys. As you can see, we're looking at 2 centimeters and 2 centimeters, and we're looking just behind the leading edge here. Okay, so the goal is to get those pretty close, because now we're going to take a bead and put it along the top, and then we're going to install this with its top wing with these 2 supports on. It's easier to do it at this step and then use the last 2 supports to support everything, go figure, than it is to do it any other way. So we're going to take that, and I'm going to slide this to the point where I want it on the wing. And then I'm going to check it for symmetry and make sure that I actually have it where I want it and aligned the way I want it. And this alignment doesn't have to be perfect, guys, but you can see the angle here. And this is the real trick. This is where you're setting the angle of this wing this way, okay? The angle this way, and even a little bit this way, you can adjust as you put the last 2 on. But for now, we want this. And when we put the last 2 on, it's also going to control the camber of our wing this way. And as you can see, there's a shorter support that'll fit right here. And you'll see why it's shorter. Also, I've got these forward supports just like on my original Hot Shot. Not the version 2. Those are straight, and it's meant to be the beginner version. It's easier to build. This is not a beginner build, strictly speaking, because of the shape. It's a bit more complex, but it will look gorgeous and fly well when it's finished, if you put it on correctly. So you want to check, and I think, oh man, it just flew. That's actually really impressive. I did not expect that. Even without CGing, the way that those wings are, it actually did a pretty good job of flying through the air. So this is actually going to fly very, very well. I just gave it a quick glide test. I know their behavior well enough to know now that if it flies at all, if it climbs at all, it's good. Even if it noses over or does whatever it's going to do. If it climbs, that's a good start. And this climbed nicely and actually did one of these, which is good because it'll climb up and then start to come down and then climb up a little bit. It'll be a little more like a fighter plane than others, which is good because I actually want that kind of behavior. So I'm going to move along and try and do this in under 10 minutes, guys. So we're going to put these in place. And again, I want to place them at the leading edge of the wing, but as you can see, they reach right to the back. So while it's still warm on the bottom, so I can adjust it, I'm going to put my little bead on the top. I'm going to lock it into place. And now I'm going to check it for straightness and make sure that it's all lined up the way that I would want. In this case, I want them to be pretty darn straight. And I want them to be aligned front to back. So I want them at the leading edge of the wing here, not sticking out in front. At the trailing or the edge of the back wing, not sticking out like that. That's actually looking beautiful, guys. And then on top of that, I want it aligned this way or it'll throw the aircraft off side to side. It's okay if they're leaned one direction or the other, as long as they both match, it'll be fine. So, speaking of which, it's time to make the other side match. Now keep in mind, this is the kind of thing that you need to get right. And the closer you have it to right, the better it will be. So we're just going to start in the same place. I'm going to reach over to the same point in the wing. You see this little bend up, and I've put it right at the top of that. It gives me a mark and makes it easy. Now I'm going to push this forward to the front of the wing, just like I did on the other side. I'm going to correct it right to left and put it vertical. Okay, now I'm going to give it a second to kind of dry a little. And then I'm just going to add the other one on top of it and put it in here. And you'll see it'll work out just fine, guys. And really all I'm putting on here is a single drop of glue, guys. A single drop is all it takes. And here we go. So now we're setting the final alignment here. So I want to check and see that it's properly aligned. See that one's not sticking out over the back edge, and this is actually looking perfect. But I clearly need to hold this one a little bit longer. This is wanting to slightly twist this way. But this is a good way to keep it aligned. I know my pieces are exactly the same because I symmetried them the way that I show you. And it's really easy. In this video, I'm not showing that, but guys, go watch my series. Like, subscribe, and share, and you will see a whole bunch of really cool aircraft and a full design series on how to build and design your own aircraft from scratch that will rock. This is going to be about it for this video. This is the finishing of my Batwing biplane. It is sick. I'm going to show you the wingspan real quick. Okay, we're looking at just 7 inches here. But in a 7-inch aircraft, you won't find anything cooler than this on the market as far as I'm concerned. And it will fly lovely, guys. Just lovely. This is a lovely shape to fly in the air. It's going to be nice and lifty without having too much lift. I haven't even put a VG set on it. And once I do, it'll be really sweet. And if you look carefully at the wingtips here, we've got a set that angle up and then out, and a set that angle down. And that's a really sweet symmetry right there. So I'm going to be back. I'm also going to make a landing gear for this that will be sweet. It'll be a ski landing gear, so it's ultra light. But this is finished, and this is now one of my all-time favorite builds. And when I take it and roll it this way, guys, it has a really nice lean to it. This is far enough out over the leading edge to give it a nice center of gravity as well. And I should be able to get center of gravity right on this back line. really soon, but it needs nose weight. This is definitely one that's going to be